Hey Empress, welcome back to Chattin with Lex, where we're having honest conversations about hormones, wellness, longevity, confidence, and thriving in our 40s and beyond. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Alexis, but you can call me Lex. And if this sounds like the community you've been looking for, don't forget to subscribe because we have plenty to chat about. Now let's take this journey together. I was thinking about this the other day. When we think about dating after 40, we usually talk about finding the right person. We talk about red flags, communication, boundaries, healing. But we really don't talk about what it's like trying to date when you don't quite feel like yourself. And I think that's a conversation we need to have. Because if I'm honest, I don't think most women walk away from a date thinking, I wonder if my hormones could be playing a role in how I felt tonight. We usually tell ourselves something else. Maybe I'm not as confident as I used to be. Maybe I've forgotten how to date. Maybe I'm just awkward now. Maybe I'm overthinking everything. Maybe I'm just getting older. Sounds familiar? I think so many of us have had those thoughts. And the hard part is, we start telling ourselves that we've changed. And in some ways, yes, we have. We've grown, we've gained wisdom, we've become more intentional about who and what we allow into our lives. Those are beautiful changes. But sometimes, mixed in with all of that growth, are experiences we never expected. Those moments where you don't quite feel like yourself. The moments where you wonder why connecting feels harder than it used to. The moments where you're physically there, but mentally you don't feel as present as you'd like to be. Because all of those little moments seem unrelated. It's easy to think this is just who I am now, when in reality, there may be more to the story than you realized. And if you've ever felt this way, I want you to know I see you. And I've been there too. I know this because I've lived it. I remember stepping back into the dating world after taking some time to focus on myself and my children. I was excited about the possibility of meeting someone. But if I'm being honest, dating didn't feel the way I thought it would. One of my first dates stands out so clearly. I had spent time getting ready. I picked out an outfit that made me feel beautiful. But by the time I left the house, the bloating kicked in. I remember putting on shapewear because I wanted everything to look smooth. Instead of feeling confident, I just felt uncomfortable. The whole evening, I kept thinking about how tight everything felt. Instead of relaxing and enjoying the meal, I was distracted by how my body felt. I wasn't fully present. I couldn't even enjoy my food because I was so aware of how uncomfortable I was. Then there was another date, completely different person, completely different evening. But halfway through the date, I wasn't thinking about where the relationship would go. I wasn't thinking about whether we had things in common. I was thinking, I can't wait to get home. Not because he did anything wrong. I was just tired. I wanted to change into something comfortable, curl up and call it a night. At the time, I remember thinking, what is wrong with me? Why don't I feel excited? Why does this feel like so much work? Why don't I feel like myself? I realize now those weren't random moments. They were little pieces of a bigger picture, a picture I couldn't see yet because, like so many women, I didn't know what my body was going through. At the time, none of those moments seemed connected. They just felt like random experiences. A little more bloating here, a little less energy there, feeling distracted one day and wanting to leave early another day. On their own, none of those moments seemed like a big deal. But together, they were telling me a story. I just didn't know how to read it yet. I've come to realize something though. We spend so much time trying to figure out ourselves when sometimes we just need someone to help us make sense of what we're experiencing. Because if no one has ever told you that hormonal changes can quietly influence the way you experience dating, why would you ever think to connect the two? You wouldn't. I didn't. Most of us wouldn't. We just keep assuming we're overthinking, or that we've become less confident, or that we've simply not interested anymore. When the truth is, sometimes you're carrying around things that are quietly competing for your attention. You're trying to listen, but your mind feels busy. You're trying to enjoy the moment, but your body doesn't feel comfortable. You're trying to focus on the person sitting across from you, but part of you is still wondering why you don't feel engaged. And here's what I found. When you spend so much energy trying to manage everything happening inside, it can be harder to fully experience what's happening in front of you. That's why this matters. Not because hormones explain everything, they don't. But they may explain pieces of your experience that never seemed to fit together before. And once you've understand that, you stop being so hard on yourself. You start giving yourself the same compassion you'd so freely give another woman sitting across the table from you. One of the greatest gifts this journey has given to me has been grace. Grace for the woman I was, grace for the woman I was becoming, and grace for the woman I am today. But it also has given me something else, hope. Because once I began understanding what was happening in my body, I realized I wasn't powerless. There were steps I could take. There were conversations I could have. There were choices I could make that supported my health instead of leaving me feeling stuck and confused. And those choices have made a difference. Today, my journey looks different than it did just a couple years ago. I'm on hormone replacement therapy. I'm paying much closer attention to how I nourish my body. I'm taking supplements that have been supporting me along this journey as well. While every woman's journey is different, I can honestly say I feel more like myself today than I did when I first started wondering what's happening to me. That's why I believe these conversations matter. Because when we understand what's happening, we can have informed conversations with our healthcare providers, make choices that support our health, and stop feeling like we have to figure it all out on our own. If you haven't watched my video about brain fog and some of the things that have been helping me on this journey, I'll link it in the description box below, along with the supplements that have been supporting me as well. My hope is that every conversation we have here reminds you that there is hope, that there is support, and that you don't have to walk this journey alone. We're learning, we're growing, and we're thriving. Together we're doing this. And if today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. Have you ever experienced something during dating that you never thought could be connected to your hormones? Let's keep this conversation going because I know you're not the only one. And if this sounds like the community you've been looking for, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, Empress, it's time to thrive. Let's take this journey together. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.